I ninjas. They play golf occasionally. And what game better typifies the era of the ninja in video games like Ninja Golf on the Atari 7800? This is a game that's being played as part of the Atari Legacy. Was it the Atari 50? The Atari 50 Anniversary Collection on the PlayStation 4, provided by the Maryland Library System. And the Maryland Library System is putting in work, giving us the classics like Ninja Golf. A video game that I never knew existed. I wasn't reading game. I don't think I read the issues of Game Pro magazine or Game Players magazine or Electronic Gaming Monthly that would have explained this game's existence to me. I did never own an Atari 7800. I owned an Atari 2600 at the time. You know, the fun is back, etc. and so forth, under $50. But I never got my hands on 7800, and games like this might have impressed me at the time because in 1990 I did not have an NES. I did not get an NES till like late 90s, I think early 91. Like right around when would that come out? I want to say I got it right around the time the Ninja Turtles video game. In fact, what goes better with the 19 ninjas go with the 1980s like Teenage Mutants and Turtles. And in this case, this game came out right around the time when the Ninja explosion was. I wouldn't say we were at peak Ninja. I think we were past peak Ninja by this point. But obviously, Ninja Turtles was a massive success at the time, so the animated series was. So the flood of video games was coming, and Ninja Golf was released right around that era, apparently. Like right around the era when every kid in America would have wanted to play a game with ninjas in it. There were too many ninja games by 1990. And we could joke all night about all the ninja games that got released in the NES in 1990 and 1991. I want to say Ninja Gaiden came out right around this time too. So yeah, ninjas were everything back then. I want to say Japan bought the Seattle Mariners. So I mean, we were going through that era when apparently Japan was coming out of the bubble era and everyone thought they were going to take over the world. But we'll get to that later. To pick up an item, position your ninja over the item and crouch. Just so you know, this is a game where it's a very simplistic golf game where you have to run to pick up your ball and you have side-scrolling combat involved. So how would I describe it? It's not even like Mario Golf. Yeah, it's not even like Mario Golf. It's a very conventional, like a very simplistic golf game where you have to engage in side-scrolling melee combat, more or less. You know, janky melee combat. It's an Atari. I mean, it's an Atari, people. I mean, what were you expecting? I don't know what anyone was expecting out of Atari. I mean, we're gonna get a fighting game out of this. It's almost like Ninja. I guess it's almost like Ninja Warriors, the arcade game in a way. Only jankier, if you can believe that. Delete, press the left control. Don't even worry about the controller buttons. You crouch. You crouch to pick up items. Press the attack button to kick. You can throw a star when you're not moving. So if you're jumping or you're not moving to the left or right, you can throw a ninja star. Ninja stars are a consumable item in this game. They're a ranged weapon you can use in this game. Use the golf window to aim your shot. Your T position is shown by the flashing white ball. I'll explain that. Once the ball is hit, your ninja jogs after it. On your way to retrieve the ball, you'll be attacked. In the sand traps, you deal with snakes, and the water traps, you deal with sharks. When you land on the green, you have to get into a. How do I describe it? I'll show you what it is. There's a boss fight when you get to the green. So you don't have to putt, you just have to shoot shurikens at a boss character. You successfully destroy the guardian, you determine the score for that hole. And of course, you get a numerical reward, a typical score value based on how quickly you put the ball in the hole, or in this case, how many how many times did you have to swing your golf club before you defeated the boss, basically. So you can see the point value for this game. Point value for all this. And again, if you don't know golf rules, don't worry, I'll explain them enough to put this in context. Save your ninja starts from the most difficult section of the game. For a higher score, take the shortest path. Yeah. Sometimes the ninja runs away. Yeah, you can jump, I guess. It's a ratchet scrolling. It's a ratchet side scrolling game, so you can't move backwards. Of course, why would you need to? Yeah, I guess how would I describe it? It's kind of like Kung Fu on the NES, kind of like Ninja Warriors in the arcades. A game like that, in case you're wondering, it just involves golf at some point. It just involves golf to set the table. So we'll establish the basics, of course. We'll probably remember the Masters are being played right now here in 2023. So this is going to be my contribution to the Masters discourse, I guess. Tiger Woods made the cut, but he's not going to finish in the top 50 apparently. So that's how long Tiger Woods has been in the game. Although Phil Mickelson apparently is doing extremely well. He's in the top 10. But we'll get to that later. Ninja Golf. Is there more than one way to play this game? Because it says normal. Is there another way to play this game? Is there an abnormal is there an abnormal way to play a game like Ninja Golf? Press select. Easy, normal, hard, or kamikaze. Well, we're not gonna do. We'll play normal. See how it goes. This is the Sekiro of Ninja Golf games in the Atari 27, the Atari 7800, I suppose. I mean, part of me likes the idea of fusing a traditional golf game with side-scrolling combat, but I've only played this game for like 10 minutes. It's a very basic golf game. And the combat is way too simplistic for me. Okay. On the bottom left-hand corner of the screen is a flashing white dot that determines the path of the ball. So we're going to you're going to press left or right on the D-pad to adjust the path of the ball. I think you can use up or down on the D-pad to make finer movements. There's no wind apparently, so that's good. Here's what we're going to do. What's the hardest we can hit it? Like right around here. So you can see the length of the ball. And if we time our button press to when the flashing ball's at its farthest point, like in Tecmo Super Bowl, whatever, then that'll determine the length of the swing, the length of the path of the ball. Remember, there's no hooking or slicing or the ball moving to the left or right. And now that we've hit the ball, we have to chase after it. Ow, we got to jump over that. If you press the attack button while you're moving, you can do kicks. If you press the attack button while you're jumping or crouching, you will throw shurikens. On the far right-hand side of the screen, you can see I have 3 shurikens left. So they are a consumable. Got it. I'm all right. Don't nobody worry about me. There it is. Okay. So this is the entire game until we get to the green. So eventually we're gonna move far enough to the right so that we can get to where the ball's landed. And then we'll take our next shot. And I'm out of shurikens. What? Wait, there's another one right here. Guess they randomly appear. Can't make it to the destination. Okay, so all we have to do is get the ball near the green. Or get the ball on the green. So we don't have to get it near the hole, I don't think. I don't know if it matters how close you get the ball to the hole. As long as we get the ball on the green, we're going to face the boss. I don't know what the par is on this hole, though, by the way. There is a pause function, so that's good. Let me check out the controls for a second. The Atari 7800 allowed you to pause the game. The Atari 2600 did not. But that was actually one thing I always liked about. I always hated about 2600. You couldn't pause the freaking games. Nope. So there's no way to see the number of the par on the hole. Lives remaining. Yeah, the status window doesn't show how many strokes you need to get the ball on the green. Typical golf rules apply here. If the par is 3 and you get the ball on the green in 3 strokes, that's considered par. If you get the ball, let me put it this way. If you get the ball in the hole in 3 strokes, that's considered par. If you get the ball in the hole in 2 strokes, that's considered a birdie. That kind of thing. Some holes are par 3, some are par 4, some are par 5, based on the difficulty of the hole. Usually based on the length of the hole. Usually depending on the length of the course that you're playing on. In this case, if the distance from the starting point to the hole is shorter, it tends to be a par 3. If the distance to the hole is longer, then it tends to be a par 5. It varies. Again, basic golf rules. Unpause. I think all I have to do is get it on the green. I don't think I have to do anything fancy here. Got it. So once we get to our destination, we'll face the boss. And I'm already out of throwing stars, apparently. Ideally, you can just let the enemy come closer to you, but that's not really realistic because the control is so that a mouse. The control is so janky that letting the enemy get close to you seems like a liability. Again, the combat in this the collision boxes in this game are not very tight. This very much feels like a game that was kind of slapped together with a barely a consideration for like how much visual feedback should be present when you make contact with the enemy from melee range. Like this is not a Capcom game, obviously. Here's the boss. So we don't have to put the ball into the hole, we just have to defeat the boss. But that's all this is. Move left or right to avoid the dragon's fire. And apparently when you run out of shurikens, you can move to the far left side of the screen and replenish your supply. In fact, that's mentioned in the instruction manual, which I can explain. I can just clear that up here. Here you go. You can only carry 10 ninja stars at a time. When you deplete your supply, move to the far left to replenish. So yeah, that's again on a controller with very few buttons. That's actually a very good way of making the game work. Obviously, I think this controller is like a Super Nintendo controller in a way. It's like an NES controller. So there weren't that many buttons to play with. What, two buttons, right? Yeah, there were two buttons. We can't see the controller. There were only two buttons on the Atari 7800 controller, and a pause feature, of course. So I got on the green in two shots. So I only had to swing my club twice to get on the green and face the boss. So I get birdie for this hole. And I get 7,000 points because I got the ball in the hole with one fewer stroke than is normal for par. This is a par three hole. I only needed two swings of the club to get on the green, so I get the birdie and the 7,000 points as a result. Let me show you that other thing down here. Golf scores. If you get an eagle, you get 7,000 points. So if the par for a hole is 4 or 5, and you get on the green in two fewer strokes than par, that's considered an eagle. So if you get on the hole with one fewer stroke than par, that's birdie. Two fewer is eagle. So if we go to a hole that's par 4 and we get on the green in two strokes, in two swings of the club, then we'll get an eagle and 8,000 points once we defeat the boss. Basic stuff. And of course, you defeat enemies along the way. But again, that's very old school. You can most video games back then were a high score chase anyway. This should not surprise anybody. So I got a birdie again. So the game doesn't say what the par is for that hole. No, it doesn't. It's just hole number 2. So we're gonna try and get over the sand. So if we this ball's gonna land to the left of the sand trap. So if we hit it as hard as we can, we should get on the green in 2 strokes. Not good enough, but close. That's okay. So maybe after I clear this, after I get past this gauntlet, I'll be able to take one more big swing, see if I can get the ball on the green on the very next stroke. And screen clearing bomb. You can't hold those. You crouch to pick up the item. That's it. I don't know if the rat's doing any damage. It's doing very little damage to my health, and I'm not complaining about that. Yeah, got me. Needed that. All right, so it gives me a bit more health. Again, there's not much to this game so far. Once we get to the boss, we're gonna lather, rinse, repeat. Well, made it to the end. So I don't know if that is timing based. Like, do I just have to move to the right for like 15 seconds to pick up my ball, or do I have to in other words, do I have to keep moving to the right? I think I have to do that. We'll see how it goes. It's technically a research stream. There's a very slim chance I'll play this game for more than half an hour, if I'm being honest. This was probably a $40 game when it got released. And remember when the Atari 2600 was still on stores. Hope I made it. Oh, that's the sand trap. Okay. Yeah, there is music in Atari games sometimes. Is he spitting at me? So to get to the hole, I have to deal with the sand traps. So it doesn't matter where I put the ball, it just matters that I actually have to cross the sand trap. The sand trap is like, yeah, it's just an obstacle. I do need some health, though. Got me. Okay, that did do a bit of damage. Okay, so I don't think I guess if they wanted me to save my shurikens, I should not. I should jump over the enemy instead of trying to attack them. Ow, got me. Do I have unlimited shurikens? It looks like it. It looks like I have unlimited shurikens here. Yeah, I have unlimited shurikens. Does that depend? Maybe does that depend on the difficulty level? Because it looks to me like I have unlimited shurikens on the normal difficulty level. Huh? Sure. Let me check on that. Oh, maybe I have to move to the left when I'm in the side-scrolling part, not in the boss fighting part. I'm not sure what that's about. Because it felt like I had unlimited shurikens for that boss fight. I'm not complaining. I didn't check my score there. Was that a birdie? I think that was a birdie, not an eagle. That's okay. What? Screw that up. I screwed that up. Ah. Okay, yeah, I screwed that up. Yeah, I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't paying attention to where the path of the ball was, so I screwed that up. Kind of deserve that, I guess. Did I mention that I kind of like the parallax scrolling they got going on here? Okay, so yeah, I screwed that. Well, I'm in the Okay, so I'm in the rough now. So you can just jump over those guys, I guess. I think he kicked me in midair. That was cool. Okay, so I screwed that up. I totally screwed that up. But I have to get past the water to get to the green anyway. Did I even make it over there? I think I'm gonna get over the water. Yeah, I'm not gonna screw that up. I didn't even make it over the water. So I'm gonna bogey this hole. Can I just redo the hole? Pretty sure I screwed this up pretty bad. Where did it land? I think it landed on the. I think it landed in the gruff. I think I'm okay. I think I landed in the grass. I can't go backwards, so I missed those. So I missed those shurikens that appeared behind me to the left. So now I'm in the water. I have to deal with the sharks. Can I punch it in the nose? Wow, these guys are rough. Game gets brutal. Can I jump over any of these sharks? Yeah. So I can't kick this. I can't kick the frogs. But again, this is not much to this game. It's just this. I got my shurikens. Hold on. Probably won't need them though. Yeah, I'm already on the green. I don't really need them. Maybe I do. Okay, yeah, I made it. Well, I guess I made it out of the rough, so I didn't have to face any more frogs. So if I'm on the fairway, whoops, because so that's my last life. So I guess what happens is that if the ball lands on the fairway, I have regular enemies like rats and like rats. But if I land in the rough, then I have to deal with the frogs. And there's just not much to this. It's like this is going to be this video's entire experience with Ninja Golf. I tend to believe that must have been a bogey. I didn't even double check to see how many points I got. Hey, pay attention. I got okay. Doesn't matter where the ball lands. I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to fight enemies in the forest, which means there are gonna be harder enemies here in the forest. So be careful of that. Now, again, the control is very janky. It's like you just press the button when the enemies get close, and you just press the button when the enemies get close to you. But there's not a lot of strategy. It's just again, it doesn't even have as much strategy as Ninja Warriors did on the arcades. Yeah, the principle is sound. Okay, so who are we fighting here? Yeah, birds. Birds and someone else are in the forest. Wow, that was bad. So don't jump. Wow, that was really bad. Jumped in the air once and it like got a 4-hit combo on me. Yes, I'm not gonna survive this. I'm out of lives. Yep, I'm out of lives. Yeah, this is dishonor on you and dishonor on your cow. This game is not great, unfortunately. Yeah, this is not gonna work. I mean, I guess we can try kamikaze mode just for funsies, but this does not look like much of anything. It looks like it's a goof game. American Kusage. Well, let's restart that. American Kusage. Like, there's not much to it. I still want to know why Joust. I still want to know why Joust. I guess the third party. I still want to know why Joust and Midnight Magic aren't on. Midnight Magic has never been on any Atari compilation. That drives me nuts. I would play that game instantly if that ever came out on a new. I mean, well, maybe not right away, but everyone disrespects Midnight Magic. I mean, I think there was a pinball game on the Atari Legacy Collection. I think it was called Video Pinball. I don't remember it being great. I just remember it being a single screen pinball game, like Midnight Magic, only with far less complex tables. Although they do have a couple of Jaguar pinball games on here. Ruiner's on here, but it doesn't look particularly good. The frame rate on Ruiner is terrible. Like it's a 50. It's the scrolling is very choppy. It's like 15 frames a second. That's very disappointing. So you got a pinball game where the physics like they're okay, but the scrolling is so choppy that it makes the game somewhat fatiguing to play for long periods of time. So that's another massive disappointment. Why can the Jaguar never do anything right? Like even Tempest 2000, which I sampled for a few minutes before playing this, it looks like an Atari 7800 game on a Jaguar. It's probably a decent game. It's just you expect the game to look better than an NES game. Is it unreasonable to expect a Jaguar game to look better than an NES game? Tempest 2000 looks like a game that could have been made on the NES. Like Square could have done that. And they could have like 3D glasses. Okay, what's going on here? Kamikaze mode, man. That was raw. I have no idea what happened there. I'm playing kamikaze mode, in case you're wondering. Got me. Maybe there's a way to figure out where the rats spawn. Maybe they're groundhogs. I can't tell. Okay, I made it out with half my health. I mean, strategy. I mean, maybe there might be some kind of trick. There might be like a safe place for me to stand. Got birdie on that hole. Whiff. Shanked it. Yeah, I just got cocky. If I press the button a lot sooner than the maximum length, I should be fine. But I get greedy. Yeah, I just got greedy. That was my excuse. Look, see, I did it again. I got greedy. Should have pressed the button a lot sooner. That's all that was. So again, if you're too late when we press the button, the ball barely moves like a few feet. See, that's fine. Just get near the end of the maximum length and you're fine. That's the thing. three enemy, if more than one enemy attacks you at the same time, you can't attack multiple enemies at once. So if you don't have a shuriken, you're hosed. Maybe they just want me to jump over these enemies. And they want me to just jump over them? Because remember, I can't attack them in midair. See, I can't run away. I can't run away from them because they just catch up to me. That's what I mean. There are three enemies there. Is there any way for me to avoid damage there? Because if I don't have a shuriken, how do I avoid damage? If three enemies swarm you at once, you're going to take a hit from one of them. You're going to kick one of them and then take damage from the guy right behind them. And again, like right here, if their enemies start throwing, if these enemies start throwing, if the mouse starts throwing dirt at you, if the mouse starts throwing dirt at you, you can't jump over the dirt and attack enemies at the same time. So what's the point of this kamikaze mode? There doesn't seem to be any strategy to it. The enemies just overwhelm you, and there's nothing you can do. Especially if you don't have a shuriken. These yellow enemies are camouflaged. That's not great. Okay. Just stay far away from them, I guess. Yeah, I don't know what they expected me to do there. Does it matter if I hit them high or low? Yeah, the snake is just about standing up and hitting them with your foot when he extends his neck. So I can hold down the attack button. I guess it comes down to timing. I guess it comes down to timing, really. See, there are three enemies there. How could I hit two of them, but the third one took off some damage. I don't know what they wanted me to do there. Excuse me, that's what I'm talking about. It's just, I don't know how to avoid damage when two enemies attack you at once. What do they want me to do here? Yeah, I don't know what they wanted me to do here. I just get overwhelmed and I can't attack multiple enemies at once. This isn't Final Fight. You can't stun lock two enemies with one punch. I don't know what they're expecting me to do. This is kamikaze mode. I have no idea what they're expecting me to do when I get swarmed like that. I mean, I just think it's a bad game. Like I only played it for half an hour. I only played it for like half an hour, but it's like I think it's just a bad game. But you could see what it like. It's like it feels like one of those game jam games that you would like spit out in like a day just to kind of see if it could, just to kind of see if you can like get people to buy in on the concept. But it's just it's like a goof. So it's a meme game. Like it might as well be a mobile game, and not even a good mobile game. Like this. Yeah, no. At some point, a video game can't just be like an April Fool's joke. It has to be an actually good game. It can't just be an elevator pitch, and it can't just be like a demo, and it can't just be like a goof. And this feels like a goof. It's probably also ridiculously expensive, but it might be a stadium. It might be a stadium events kind of situation where it's like you have this very bad game that's very expensive, so people want it because it's expensive and dumb. But it's like, and imagine some poor museum paying like hundreds of dollars for this game just so they can say, "Oh, we have this rare thing that's actually trash. We have rare trash." Like, it's a cult game. Yeah, for people who play Atari games, sure, it's a cult game. But on a console that gave us like what? Like this is a console that gave us what? Joust, Midnight Magic. There's probably like a dozen Atari games that are actually like genuinely good. Like you don't have to be some kind of retro nostalgia. You have to be some nostalgia addled retro nerd to like them, but This just feels like a game that's like it's a goof. 10 minutes after playing it, I kind of wanted to play something else. Like you saw everything there was to see in the first 2 minutes, and it doesn't get much better than this. So, yeah. Is there a real sports golf game? I'll double check. Well, in fact, I'll just do that before I end this video. No, it's just a bad game. Real sports baseball. There is no real sports golf. So this is it, kids. This is your golf game for this. That's just one under another title I wasn't aware of. I did a video on real sports football. I broke it in 10 minutes. So I mean, it is. I mean, old video games. They're sometimes good at one thing. This was recorded on my triple driver headphones into the MPOW USB A audio capture device. Video was recorded with an inland USB B USB A dongle. Capture at 60 frames a second onto my dual core Windows 11 laptop at 60 frames a second. Yes, you got every frame of this game. Every frame of Ninja Golf. We have all the frames of Ninja Golf. Again, well, it didn't survive the crash, but I think it's a pretty typical example of a first-party video game that meant there was this will be Nintendo's future at some point. In the year 2040, when the resource wars caused the buyouts to start a revolution or whatever, an AI revolution. Nintendo will make Mario Golf with Animal Crossing, and that will be the end of an era. But this is one of the ends of the Atari's era. I think it's fair to say this. You would expect nothing less from the developers of the Jaguar console, I guess. Next.